Is annual flooding Vermont's new normal?
Our Sophia Thomas asked experts that question and joins us live in Richmond with their answers. Sophia, what did they tell you?
Well, listen, John, last summer when spots like this park and ride in Richmond were underwater, we thought we wouldn't be reporting on another major flood for decades. But here we are, a year later, after two major floods hit within just weeks of each other. Climate experts say we could be seeing more of those storms in the future, but anticipating them can be complicated. On the night of July 29th, Pete Bonakis with the National Weather Service in Burlington watched as a storm crept across his screen.
We're monitoring rainfall rates. We're monitoring soil moistures. We have flash flood guidance, so we know how much rain we need before we start to be concerned with flash flooding.
Overnight, areas of the Northeast Kingdom were pummeled by historic rainfall. St. Johnsbury sustained a record 8 inches. Bonakis says most storms are predictable, but this one was an upper-level, low-pressure system that was hard to pin down. That gave his team just hours to alert emergency services.
The warnings, again, were quite good, but the ability to provide notification in our forecast a day or two in advance, that was more difficult for us.
Unpredictability is the name of the game when it comes to recent flooding. Distinguished professor and Vermont state climatologist Leslie Ann DePini-Giroux says now it's hard to know exactly where and exactly how much rain will touch down.
When it comes to the atmosphere, when it comes to the entire water cycle, things are changing in ways that we don't particularly know right now.
Looking at floods throughout Vermont's history, DePini-Giroux says one thing is clear. Current storms are getting more intense.
As our climate changes and there's more moisture in the air to actually fall out as rain, whenever you have more rain falling in a shorter amount of time, then that means that water has to go somewhere.
Those intense storms can get trapped between Vermont mountains, forcing their full effects onto Vermonters on the ground.
The rivers and the roads are in the bottoms of these V-shaped valleys. So all of this comes together because it sets up the conditions for some of our historic downtowns flooding.
Recent repeat flooding, right down to the exact date of 2023's disaster, leaves many wondering whether catastrophic floods are the new normal. Experts say it's hard to know for sure, but heavier rainfall combined with already saturated soil and high waters puts communities at higher risk.
That doesn't mean we're going to keep up with the frantic pace that we've had here recently. But overall, the climate in Vermont is becoming wetter with time.
Bonakis warns Vermonters to stay especially vigilant in August, during which time it will take very little rainfall to push us over that threshold and trigger more flooding. Live in Richmond, Sophia Thomas, Channel 3 This Morning.